Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast Series 1. I'm Kirsty.
And I'm Sam. It's great to have you all joining us again today.
That's right, Sam. And today we're diving into a topic that's super important for everyday communication, but sometimes feels a little tricky, you know?
Absolutely, Kirsty. We're going to talk all about greetings and introductions in English. Our goal for this episode is really simple. We want to help you feel much more confident when you greet people and introduce yourself or even introduce others in English.
Yes, it's all about building that confidence, isn't it? Whether you're meeting someone for the first time or just saying hello to a neighbor, we'll be, going through some common phrases and giving you some practical tips. So stick around.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kirsty, it might seem like greetings are, they're just simple words, right? Like hello or hi, but they're actually so much more than that in English and in any language, really.
That's so true, Sam. They're often the very first step in any interaction. It's like a little key that opens the door to a conversation, They really are, as some experts describe them, a gateway to friendships and social integration.
Right. It's that initial, almost ritualistic exchange that sets the tone. It's where you acknowledge someone's presence and begin to establish a connection. And that connection is crucial, especially when you're in a new environment or meeting new people.
Exactly. And it's funny because even though they seem so simple, a lot of learners actually find greetings quite challenging, especially when they encounter cultural differences. I mean, what seems natural to a native speaker might feel a bit, unsettling to someone from a different background.
Oh, completely. It's not just about knowing the words. It's also about the body language, the tone, and even whether you should make physical contact or not. What's polite in one culture might be seen as impolite or even awkward in another.
Yeah, I've heard stories from students, for example, who were confused by phrases like, "Are you all right?" in English, because in their home culture, you'd only ask that if someone seemed unwell or in trouble. They weren't expecting it as a casual greeting.
That's a perfect example. It highlights how the way we greet can vary so much and why understanding these nuances is really important for comfortable social interaction. We want to make sure you feel confident in these everyday situations.
So, to help our listeners feel more confident, maybe we should start with some of the most common ways to actually greet someone in English, right? Let's look at some phrases.
That's a great idea, Kirsty. And, these are phrases you'll hear all the time. Let's begin with the very basics. Hello, hi, and hey there.
Hello is really versatile, isn't it? You can use it in almost any situation, whether it's formal or informal. It's always a safe bet.
Exactly. If you're ever unsure, hello is a perfect go-to. Then there's hi, which is probably the most common informal greeting. You'll hear hi everywhere with friends, colleagues, even in shops sometimes.
Yeah, it's super friendly. And then, hey there. That one feels even more casual, doesn't it? You typically use that with people you already know well or, in a very relaxed setting.
Definitely. So if I were to greet you, Kirsty, what would you say is the most common way you hear it?
I'd say hi is the most frequent. Like, "Hi, Sam, how are you?" Or if I see a friend from across the room, it's just a simple hi with a wave.
Right. So if we're just walking past each other and say the office corridor.
Okay, I'll pass you now.
Hey, Kirsty.
Hi, Sam.
And if we were meeting for the first time, maybe at a cafe?
I'd probably go with, "Hello, nice to meet you."
Yeah, hello definitely feels a bit more, formal for a first introduction, which is often good.
Now,
Let's talk about those time-specific greetings because they're also very common. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening.
These are a bit more formal than hi or hey there, but still very much part of everyday English. Good morning is used from roughly when you wake up until around noon.
And good afternoon takes over from midday until about 5 or 6 p.m. Then good evening is for, the rest of the night until it's time to say good night when you're actually leaving or going to bed.
Let's try a quick scenario. Imagine we're at a work conference and it's early in the day.
Okay, I see you walking in.
Good morning, Kirsty. How are you today?
Good morning, Sam. I'm very well, thank you. You?
Perfect. Or if it's later in the day, maybe you're leaving work.
I'm heading out of the office now.
Good evening, Kirsty. See you tomorrow.
Good evening, Sam. Have a good one.
So, as you can hear, these greetings are simple, but they convey a little more formality or respect, especially when you're in professional settings or speaking with someone you don't know very well.
And remember, listeners, it's all about context. You wouldn't really say, hey there, to your boss at a formal meeting, just like you probably wouldn't say good morning to your best friend, unless you were trying to be funny.
Right. It's all about picking the right tool for the right job, so to speak. We'll explore more about choosing the right phrase as we go on, but these are solid foundations.
Okay, Sam, so we've covered the initial greetings. Now, what often comes right after that is the classic question, how are you? But there are many variations, right?
Absolutely, Kirsty. How are you is definitely the most common, but you'll also hear, how's it going? Or the very casual, what's up?
How's it going feels a bit more relaxed than how are you, doesn't it? Like you'd use it with a colleague or a friend, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. And what's up is super informal. You wouldn't use that in a formal business meeting, for example. It's mostly for friends or people your own age you know well. It's almost like just saying hi or hello on its own.
That's a good point. And this is where learners often get a bit confused because the expected answer isn't always a long, detailed explanation of how you're feeling.
Exactly. This is such a common misunderstanding. Many learners, especially from cultures where you give a more honest or detailed response, feel puzzled or even embarrassed. They might have been taught to say, I am fine or just so, but then they don't know what to do next.
Right. It's often more of a ritualistic greeting than a genuine request for a deep dive into your emotional state. As that research paper we looked at mentioned, it's often a closed set, formulaic, and easily learned exchange.
Yeah, a sort of phatic communion, as some linguists call it. It's about maintaining social connection rather than exchanging information. So you might say, I'm good, thanks, and you? Or, not bad, yourself?
Or even just, good, thanks. And then you can either mirror the question back or, as we'll get to, transition into some small talk.
Let's role play a scenario. To make this clear, imagine we're bumping into each other at the supermarket. I'll start. Okay, I'm just looking at the apples.
Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Just picking up a few things for dinner.
So, listeners, did you hear that? I kept my response brief and then immediately turned the question back to Sam. It's less about giving a full report and more about keeping the conversation flowing.
That's right. And if I had said, what's up, your response might be even shorter, like just, hey, or nothing much. You?
Let's try that.
Hey, Kirsty, what's up?
Oh, hey, Sam. Not much, just doing some shopping. You?
Yeah, same here. Just grabbing some milk.
See? Very, very casual. The key is often to respond briefly, sometimes even with a slight upward intonation at the end of your you or yourself to automatically hand the conversational turn back to the other person.
It's like a conversational tennis match, isn't it? You hit the ball back over the net. It's not about winning points, just keeping the rally going.
Exactly. It avoids that awkward silence, and it shows you're engaged in the conversation, even if it's just a fleeting one. Okay, Sam, so we've covered those initial greetings and the how are you exchange. Now let's move on to the next common step, introductions. This is really important when you're meeting someone new, isn't it?
Absolutely, Kirsty. Once you've done the initial greeting, you often want to say who you are. The simplest way, of course, is my name is, or I'm.
Right. So if I were meeting someone for the first time at, say, a new class, I might just say, "Hi, I'm Kirsty."
Exactly. Good use of I'm there.
And my name is feels perhaps just a touch more formal, or maybe when you want to make sure they really catch your name clearly. Hello, my name is Kirsty.
Yeah, it gives it a little more emphasis, perhaps. Or if you're meeting someone you know you'll be interacting with professionally. Like, good morning, my name is Sam, and I'll be your consultant today.
That's a great example. So, how about when you're introducing someone else? Say, I'm with a friend and we run into you.
Oh, that's really useful. The most straightforward way is, this is my friend.
So, I could say, hey, Sam, this is my friend Alex. And then, what comes next?
Good question. After you introduce someone, the natural response from the person being introduced, or the person meeting them, is often, nice to meet you, or pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you is probably the most widely used, right? It's friendly and works in most situations.
Definitely the most common. Pleased to meet you is a bit more formal, or perhaps, slightly more polite. You might hear it more often in business settings or when you want to show a little more respect.
Let's try a quick role play. Sam, you're at a party and you are introducing me to a new friend.
Okay, I'm ready.
Hi, Sam. How's it going?
Good, thanks. Kirsty, this is a friend of mine. I'd like you to meet Alex. Alex, this is Kirsty. Pleased to meet you too, Kirsty.
See how that flows? Sam introduced me to Alex. I would say, nice to meet you. And then Alex, in turn, says, pleased to meet you too. It's a very natural exchange.
And it's important for listeners who remember that mirroring the phrase back or using a similar one is polite and keeps the conversation going. So nice to meet you usually gets nice to meet you too, or pleased to meet you too.
Precisely. It signals that you're engaged and, happy to have made the introduction. It's all about building that initial connection, setting the stage for further conversation.
And this is where confidence really comes in. The more you practice these simple phrases, the more natural they'll feel.
Okay, so you've made the introduction, which is fantastic. What often comes next in that initial getting to know you phase, Sam?
Well, if you want to keep the conversation flowing, a very common question, I think, is where are you from? Or where do you live? It's a natural way to find out a little more about someone.
Absolutely. And the answers are usually pretty straightforward. I'm from country or city, or I live in city or area. It's, simple, but it gives you a starting point.
Like, I'm from London, or I live in Manchester. And then another common follow-up, or even an alternative, is asking about what someone does, right?
Yeah, definitely. What do you do is another staple for small talk. It can mean, what's your job, or are you a student, or what do you do for fun? Though usually in these initial gradings, it's more about work or study.
So a simple answer would be, I'm a student, or I work in industry or profession. For instance, I'm a student at the university, or I work in marketing.
Exactly. Let's try a brief scenario. Imagine we're at a casual gathering.
Okay.
Oh, I'm from just outside London originally. And you, Sam, what do you do?
I work in education. I teach English.
Oh, really? That's interesting. See, it just, opens up the conversation. Well, unfortunately, that brings us to the end of this
more shorter lengthened podcast episode. Thanks so much for joining us on this learning journey. We'll try to make the next podcast episode longer for you all, but we are just getting started here at the English Learning Podcast Hub, and we're excited to bring you new episodes daily. Be sure to subscribe, give us a like, and leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. And coming up next, an episode on the area of morning routines, something we all have in our daily lives, so you won't want to miss it. Thanks again, and have a great day. See you soon.